It was a Tuesday afternoon at a gas station on the edge of nowhere, the kind of place where truck drivers stop for coffee and bikers fill up their tanks before hitting the open road. Jake Reaper Morrison was filling his Harley when he heard the scream, high-pitched, terrified, coming from the convenience store. Jake's instincts kicked in immediately. 20 years riding with the Devil's Brotherhood MC had taught him to recognize real fear. This wasn't drama. This was danger. He moved toward the store, his leather vest with its patches marking him as a member of one of the most notorious motorcycle clubs in the country. But before he reached the door, a little girl burst out, running full speed. Looking over her shoulder, she was maybe 6 years old, blonde pigtails bouncing, face streaked with tears, and she was running straight toward him. Please act like you're my dad," she gasped, grabbing his hand with both of hers. Jake froze. In his entire life, no one had ever asked him to be anything close to a father figure. He was the guy people crossed the street to avoid, the guy cops watched carefully, the guy mothers pulled their children away from. But this little girl was clinging to him like he was her only hope. If this moment hit you in the chest, drop a comment saying "Stay safe, Lily." Then Jake saw him. A man in his 30s came out of the store, scanning the parking lot. He wore jeans and a polo shirt, looked completely ordinary except for the cold calculation in his eyes. As they swept across the gas pumps, the girl pressed herself behind Jake's legs, trembling. "He's not my dad," she whispered. "He took me from the park. Please don't let him take me." Jake didn't need to hear another word. He put himself between the girl and the man, his massive body creating a wall of leather and muscle. The man's eyes landed on them for a moment. He seemed to think about his options. Then he started walking over, putting on a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Emily, sweetheart, you scared me. Come here." The girl's grip on Jake's hand tightened painfully. Jake's voice came out low and dangerous. "She doesn't want to go with you. I'm her uncle. She's just upset because I wouldn't buy her candy. You know how kids are." The man's smile stayed fixed, but Jake had spent decades reading people in situations where reading them wrong could get you killed. This man was lying. Everything about him screamed predator. "Emily, is this your uncle?" Jake asked without taking his eyes off the man. "No," she whispered. "I've never seen him before today." The man's face hardened. "Listen, buddy, this doesn't concern you. Emily, come here right now." Jake pulled out his phone with his free hand. "Then you won't mind if I call the police and let them sort this out." That's when the man's mask dropped completely. His hand moved to his jacket pocket. Jake's body responded before his mind caught up muscle memory from years of bar fights and club wars. He stepped forward, grabbed the man's wrist and twisted hard. The man yelped and something fell from his pocket. Not a weapon, a phone, but on the screen, visible for just a second before it locked. Jake saw a chat window with messages that made his blood run cold. Got another one. Blonde. 6 years old. Meeting at usual spot in 2 hours. Jake's vision went red. In the motorcycle club world, there were lines you didn't cross, rules even outlaws followed. And hurting kids was the one thing that would unite every club in the country against you. Stay with me until the end, because what happens when Jake makes one phone call will turn this gas station encounter into a rescue operation that exposes a network nobody knew existed. Before we continue, don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, and comment where you're watching from. Now, let's get started. Jake kept his grip on the man's wrist while he dialed with his other hand. Not the police, not yet. He called someone who could move faster. "Bulldog, it's Reaper. I need the crew at the Chevron on Highway 47. Now." "What's the situation?" "Child trafficking. And I need it handled before this piece of garbage makes a phone call." The man tried to pull away. Jake's grip tightened until bones ground together. "You move again, I break it. Understand?" Emily was crying quietly behind him. Jake softened his voice. "Hey, sweetheart, what's your real name?" "Lily. Lily Chen." "Okay, Lily. I'm Jake. And I promise you, this man will never hurt you or anyone else ever again." The roar of motorcycles filled the air within 5 minutes. 7 Harleys pulled into the gas station, ridden by men who looked like they'd stepped out of a nightmare. Leather patches, scars, and the kind of presence that made normal people very nervous. But Lily didn't seem scared. Maybe because Jake was still holding her hand? Maybe because even a 6-year-old could tell the difference between men who looked dangerous and men who were actually dangerous to her. Bulldog, a massive man with a gray beard and arms like tree trunks, got off his bike first. He took one look at the situation, and his face went from curious to murderous in half a second. "This what I think it is." "Check his phone," Jake said, tossing it to him. Bulldog scrolled for maybe 30 seconds, Then he handed the phone to another member. Ghost, who was their tech guy? How many? At least 12 kids in the last 6 months based on these messages, Ghost said quietly. He's part of a network. There's a meeting spot, a handler buyers. If this part made your blood boil even a little, hit like so this message spreads. The man Jake was holding started to speak. Listen, you don't understand. Jake shoved him against his truck. You're right. I don't understand. I don't understand how something like you exists, but I'm going to make sure it stops existing real soon. Jake. Bulldog's voice carried a warning. We do this right. We get all of them. Jake knew what that meant. In his younger days, he would have just handled this in the parking lot and been done with it. But Bulldog was right. This wasn't about revenge. This was about making sure every single person in this network faced justice. Ghost, can you access his messages? Find out where this meeting is. Already on it. Looks like an abandoned warehouse on the south side, 2 hours from now. Like he said. Jake knelt down to Lily's level. Lily, I need to ask you some very important questions. Can you be brave for me? She nodded, wiping her eyes. Did this man hurt you? No. He said he was a friend of my mommy's. He said she was in an accident, and he needed to take me to the hospital. But when we got in his car, he locked the doors and drove away. I only got away when he stopped for gas. Smart kid. Brave kid. She'd saved herself by running, you know. Your mommy's phone number. Lily said it perfectly. Jake dialed and a woman answered on the first ring, her voice desperate. Hello, Mrs. Chen. This is Jake Morrison. I'm at a gas station on Highway 47. I have your daughter, Lily. She's safe. The sound of sobbing came through the phone. Oh God. Oh thank God. We've been looking everywhere. The police said we had to wait 24 hours, but I knew something was wrong. Ma'am, the man who took her is in custody, but I need you to call Detective Sarah Martinez at the state police. Tell her Jake Morrison from the Devil's Brotherhood is requesting her presence at this location. She'll understand. There was a pause. The motorcycle club. Yes, ma'am. I know our reputation. But right now we're the good guys. Detective Martinez arrived 40 minutes later along with 3 state police units. She was a woman. In her 40s hood. Worked gang task forces for 15 years and had a complicated but respectful relationship with the Devil's Brotherhood. Reaper, she said, stepping out of her vehicle. Your message said child trafficking. Jake handed her the phone Ghost had unlocked. Everything you need is on here. Meeting location, network contacts, records going back months. He grabbed Lily Chen from Central Park 3 hours ago. Martinez scrolled through the phone, her face growing darker with each message. This is enough for warrants on at least 8 people, Jake. How did you? She asked me to act like her dad, Jake said simply. Kids got good instincts. Lily's mother arrived moments later, nearly collapsing when she saw her daughter. Lily ran to her, and they held each other while both cried. But before they left, Lily turned back to Jake. Thank you, Jake. You saved me. Something cracked in Jake's chest. In 20 years of living hard, riding fast, and doing things he'd never be proud of, no one had ever looked at him the way this little girl was looking at him now. Like he was a hero. You saved yourself, kid. You were smart and brave. I just helped a little. Mrs. Chen approached him, tears streaming down her face. I don't know how to thank you. I don't care what anyone says about motorcycle clubs. You saved my baby. Jake nodded, uncomfortable with the gratitude. Just keep her safe. Detective Martinez was organizing the tactical response to the warehouse meeting. Jake, we're going to need statements from all of you. You'll get them. But Martinez, I want in on the raid. Absolutely not. This is a police operation. Those men are expecting one person at that meeting. If nobody shows, they'll scatter. But if someone shows, Jake let the sentence hang. Martinez studied him. You're talking about going undercover. That's insane. I've done insane before. And unlike your undercover cops, if something goes wrong, I know how to handle myself. Bulldog stepped forward. He's not going alone. We all go. The Brotherhood has a reputation. Nobody's going to question bikers showing up to a shady meeting. Martinez looked between them, clearly wrestling with the legal and practical implications. Finally, she nodded. This conversation never happened officially. If anyone asks, you were never there. Understood. The warehouse was exactly the kind of place where nightmares happened. Broken windows, graffiti-covered walls, and the smell of decay. Jake and 6 other club members rolled up on their bikes, exactly 2 hours after the scheduled meeting time. Fashionably late in the way that criminals often were. 3 men were waiting outside. They tensed when they saw the motorcycles, but relaxed slightly when they saw the patches. Criminals trusted other criminals, especially ones with reputations like the Devil's Brotherhood. "You're late," one of them said. Jake got off his bike, letting his presence fill the space. "Had to make sure we weren't followed." "You got the merchandise?" The word tasted like poison in his mouth inside. "But we weren't expecting this many of you. My brothers go where I go." "Problem?" The man hesitated, then shook his head. "No problem. Come on." They were led into the warehouse, and what Jake saw made him want to burn the entire building down. With everyone inside it, 12 children, ages ranging from maybe 5 to 12, sitting on the floor. Some crying, some too hurt to cry anymore. Each one representing a family destroyed, a life stolen, innocence shattered. If this moment shattered you even a little, comment "not on our watch." Jake's hand moved to his phone, pressing the button that would signal Martinez and her team to move in. "So," Jake said, keeping his voice casual despite the rage burning through him. "How does this work?" "Simple. You pick what you want, we name a price, money transfers, and the merchandise is yours." That word again, merchandise, like these were objects instead of children. Jake looked at his brothers. They were all thinking the same thing. They'd done bad things in their lives, sold drugs, run guns, fought wars in the streets. But this was evil in its purest form. "I got a better idea," Jake said. The man smiled. "What's that?" "You all get on the ground right now, or my brothers and I make sure you never get up again." The smile disappeared. "You're a cop, worse. I'm someone who actually gives a damn." That's when Detective Martinez and 15 state police officers breached every entrance at the same time. State police, everyone on the ground. The traffickers tried to run, to pull weapons, but between Jake's crew and the police, the building was locked down in under 30 seconds. Jake moved immediately to the children, kneeling down so he wouldn't seem so big and scary. "Hey everyone, my name is Jake. These police officers are here to help you. You're safe now. You're going home." One little boy, maybe 7, looked up at him. "Are you one of the bad guys?" The question hit harder than any punch Jake had ever taken. "No, kid. Not today." The aftermath of the warehouse raid was chaos controlled by professionals. EMTs checked each child while child services coordinators made frantic calls to locate families. Detective Martinez orchestrated everything with the precision of someone who'd prepared for this moment her entire career. But Jake couldn't leave. Not yet. He stood against the warehouse wall, watching as each child was gently guided to safety. And he felt something he hadn't experienced in decades: purpose beyond survival. Meaning beyond the next ride or the next job. "Jake." Detective Martinez approached, her face unreadable. "We need to talk." "Here it comes," Jake thought. The part where she arrested him for interfering with the police operation, for going undercover without permission, for a dozen other charges she could probably make stick. "I spent 15 years thinking the Devil's Brotherhood was just another criminal organization I needed to shut down," Martinez said. "You've given me weapons violations, drug possession, assault charges over the years. But you just helped me take down the largest child trafficking network in 3 states. 12 kids are going home because you gave a damn when it mattered most." She extended her hand. "Thank you." Jake shook it, feeling like he'd stepped into some alternate universe where cops thanked bikers. "Don't make me regret this, Reaper. I'm going to have a lot of explaining to do about how civilian motorcyclists happen to be present during a major tactical operation. Our lips are sealed, Detective. We were never here." Martinez smiled slightly. "Exactly. But Jake, off the record, if you ever come across something like this again, you call me first. We do this right through proper channels. And if those channels are too slow, then you call me anyway, and I'll figure out how to make them faster." As Martinez walked away, Bulldog stepped closer, his massive body somehow shrinking in the shadow of everything they'd just witnessed. "Never thought I'd see the day we'd be working with cops." "Me neither," Jake said. "But those kids needed help and we were there." Bulldog exhaled slowly. "So what now, Reaper? We just go back to business like this never happened?" Jake didn't answer right away. He watched a father collapse to his knees as his daughter was placed back into his arms. The man held her like the world might try to steal her again. The mother couldn't even stand, just sobbed, hands shaking. "No," Jake said quietly. "There's no going back to normal after this. And I don't think we should pretend there is." That night, the Devil's Brotherhood clubhouse was packed, every patched member in the territory showed up. Prospects lined the walls, silent, absorbing what it meant to belong to something bigger than themselves. Jake stood at the front, staring at men he'd ridden with for years, men he trusted with his life. "Today, we crossed a line," he began, "but not the kind we usually cross. We pulled 12 kids out of a trafficking operation, not for money, not for power, Not for reputation. We did it because it was right. Some heads nodded. Others stayed stiff. Uneasy. I know who we are, Jake continued. We're not heroes. We've broken laws, hurt people, done things we can't undo. But there are lines that matter. And today reminded me where they are. He held up his phone messages from the traffickers. Children reduced to numbers and prices. This is evil. Real evil. And if we ignore this, then what separates us from them? Just the patches on our backs. Hammer spoke up. You saying we turn into some kind of vigilantes? I'm saying we use what we already have, Jake replied. Chapters. Everywhere. Eyes on every street. Connections cops don't have from now on. Anyone trafficking kids in our territory is declaring war on the Brotherhood. Silence. You think this makes us weak, Jake said. But today, I watched cops shake our hands. Families thank us. I watched a detective who's chased us for years ask for our help. That's not weakness, that's power. Bulldog stood up, my sisters. Kid vanished 6 years ago. Never found her. If this stops even one family from living that nightmare, I'm in. Hands rose around the room. Not all of them, but most. The next morning, Jake answered a call from an unknown number. My name is Rebecca Torres, a woman said, her voice trembling. Detective Martinez gave me your number. My son Tyler's been missing for 3 days. Police say there's no evidence, but I know something's wrong. Jake thought about Lily Chen, about that helpless waiting. Tell me everything, he said. Tyler was found within 48 hours, lured online, tracked to a motel. Returned home before anything could happen. That case led to another, then another. 6 months later, Jake sat inside a community center the Brotherhood had helped fix up. After-school programs, safety courses, laughter echoing off walls that once held nothing. Lily Chen ran up and hugged him. Every time, something inside his chest cracked a little wider. The trafficking ring was gone. 17 arrests, dozens of children home. But Jake still thought about that gas station parking lot, about a scared little girl whispering, please act like you're my dad. He'd spent his life being the man people warned their kids about. But Lily saw a protector. The Brotherhood still rode, still lived in the gray, still carried their reputation. But now they had a code. Children were untouchable. Jake kept aboard in the clubhouse photos of every child they'd helped. At the center, Lily smiling, holding his hand. Mrs. Chen once told him, you didn't just save my daughter. You showed me that help can come from anywhere. Jake never liked praise. I just didn't walk away. And that was the difference. His phone rang again. My daughter Emma disappeared today. They say I need to wait 24 hours. I can't. Jake grabbed his keys. I'm on my way. Bulldog and 3 others pulled up beside him. Engines roared to life. Once that sound meant danger, now it meant hope. Jake thought about Lily's question. Are you one of the bad guys? The answer was complicated. But maybe redemption isn't erasing the past. Maybe it's choosing differently now. Because sometimes, the scariest men become the fiercest protectors. And sometimes being someone's dad, even for a few minutes, changes everything. And that's a code even outlaws can live by. If this ending moved you even a little, tap like and share so more people hear stories of real courage.